It's been a while, but I've been working on it slowly. You may remember last time we were getting ready to sand and paint the front engine bay. Well, I've done that. I've also done some other little things that I'll show you. And we got it on all fours. You may notice it's on wheels and tires. These are the GT Torino or Ford Torino GT wheels. Don't have the center caps on them yet, but they're on the car. Put the brakes on it, front disc brakes, and the rebuilt rear end with drum brakes on the back. That's underneath of it. Took it off the rack. The rack's gone. I'm pretty sure for good this time. I won't put another car on it hopefully anytime soon. Although I do have a car to put on it if I ever was going to put another car on a rack and rebuild it. But that's another story. But what we've done today is, we've painted the front here. Come get close so you can see it. We've painted the front engine bay, and we started bolting on some of the shiny stuff. We got the brake booster and the master cylinder on. We got all the brake lines on. We got the fuel lines on. Got the wiring harness on. It's a reproduction wiring harness. The plug in the back, I had to change the plug over, as it goes right underneath the beside the brake booster there. Plug, see all the little multicolored wires? Anyway, we got that installed, or I got that installed. In addition to that, you can notice, go around the other side here, you can look down at the pedal assembly in the middle of the floor, and there's right there, that pedal assembly I put in, and as it would be, the pedal for a manual drum brake car is different than a powered disc brake car. And it wasn't the first time I'd come across this, but I evidently had forgotten it. So when I put it in, it just didn't line up correctly. So I had to go to the upgraded pedal that fits right on the same assembly. The clutch pedal still is the same, but the new brake pedal actually lines up to the booster as it comes through the firewall. The pad is on the firewall, which is a rubber pad that helps deaden noise and as it comes from the engine. That's in there. You look up here, the padding has been stuck on the roof in preparation for the surprise I have for you at the end of the video. Anyway, so we got everything done here pretty much. And when you're taking a car this far apart and putting it back together, you're always looking for signs. Is it where it needs to be? Is this where it needs to be? Is that where it needs to be? Is everything going to line up? And I can see it from here. Piece of cardboard, piece of shirtboard that I had probably 50 to 60 different measurements that I had taken on this car. Here to the ground, here to here, cross thing, whatever. I just did tons of them. And a lot of it was out of fear that I would weld something back wrong. And I do not discount the fact that I have, but I have, as I put it back together, I have coordinated those measurements that I've taken with how it appears. And one way I checked it, come up here, is the center piece right here, which is separate. And when it was installed by Ford, there were holes right here. I'll lean it up so you can see it. There were holes under here that was actually a rubber bumper for the rear back of the hood. And the this is pretty much goes into the right place because the wiper pivot, the wiper nubs that come out here, they center in the hole. So you don't have a whole lot of move left or right or forward and back movement in this. It's going to pretty much go where it goes right here. And you can tell because there's the hole sticking through the hole right there. Feel these holes line up too? Because that's a piece I didn't change. But the more important thing I'm worried about is this brace right here from this apron. And there's an apron on each side, of course. But you look to make sure this apron was in the right place. This bracket had to be in the right place. And this was an original bracket. No, reproduction bracket that I put on. But you look to see where does the hose line up? So you can see the wipers are lined up, and it actually goes down under the windshield molding. So it bows up a little bit to give it a little flex. There's actually pads that go in here to keep it from rattling, and I'll add some of those too. But when this is bolted up correctly with those placed properly, see how they are? These holes line up here, so I know these are in the right place. All right, you can see I've the steering has been installed, and the new the rebuilt ram cylinder is in place, along with the rebuilt control valve and new hoses. I've got the hoses laying there. You'll see the long one is the return hose, and the the high pressure hose is there capped off. The high pressure hose is a two-piece hose, and it joins to the hose coming off of the pump that's on the engine.
What are those marks?
What marks?
The yellow and green.
Oh, that's just the colors. I think I got that right. That's not the original. That's not original sway bar, but Ford identified sway bars with colors so they could put them on quickly and identify them very easy. I mean, that's an obvious, like 7/8 or 13/16 inch of a bar. And you know, that's the first thing you do to hot rod a car. You put a different sway bar on it to make it handle different. Not that the engineers with Ford were inept or anything, but everybody knows bigger is better when you're rebuilding a car. But anyway, I had this bar. It fit. I looked at the other bar, which was a little spindly bar. I think it was probably 1/2 inch or 5/8. I'm not sure. It just didn't look right to me, so I put this bar on it, and I just dabbed some paint on it. You'll see also I did hit some of the bolts down here with a little red dye pin to let me know later on that I had tightened them properly. The ones I didn't think I'd be able to get to once the car was back together.
What's this?
Oh, right here. Oh, that's part of the ignition system. That's the starter relay right here, and the wiring diagram. Right here, I put this on. I had a hole, 3/4 inch hole, right behind this. And since this car won't be driven a whole lot, and parasitic loss from the battery, I mean, there's not a lot that can do, but that can go. But if you leave the glove box open or the trunk open or something like that, it doesn't have the fancy electronics that cuts it off after 10 minutes. It just keeps running and running and running until the battery's dead. So I put a cut-off switch right here. You can come around on the other side and see it. And it's something you can reach over the wheel, into the wheel well, and you can turn it. That cuts it on. That cuts it off. And what I'll do is I'll run the positive cable from the battery, which will be sitting right here, down to one of these, and I'll order another cable, probably 14, 15 inches long, and run it up to here where it attaches. And that'll be a way you can sort of disable the car. Not really an anti-theft measure, because people that steal these cars, they just hook to them and drag them off. But the cutting off the power might save the battery if something that's left open, door not closed, or the trunk's open, or the glove box is the biggie. Ready? Okay. One of the worst things to do on a car that I really hate doing, maybe some people like it, and if you like it, I'm sorry for you, but it's doing headliners. Headliners are the hardest thing, one of the hardest things to do, or it's the thing I dread the most, so it's probably not that hard. But here's how I get started. This is the old headliner that I pulled out of the car. This is the original one that came from Ford. And you'll see there's wire bows here, and you can tell, I don't know what color that is. Maybe it's on the other end. That's a red, pinkish, and this is a green. Well, they're in certain order, and they got to be in a certain order because of the car as it changes sizes as it goes from front to back. So I know this is the front because here's the holes for the sun visors. So this is the front one. So I pull it out. There you go. I don't know what color it is. Some of them are actually blank. I go over to this one. This is the new one. And my there you go. I'll have to trim this back. You can tell these are, you can tell from the factory, they're cut a little bit right here. They're shorter, but they're not shorter here. So I'll take a razor blade and cut those back. Second one, that's the first one. Second one, same way.
You're cutting the fabric or the...
Yeah, you'll cut the fabric back so you got room for it to actually expand. Let me see if I can get the second one out. There you go. There's the second one. Then you have a third one. Pull it out. Maybe this one come out the back side. Okay, here's the third one. Okay, third one. And we'll do the fourth one real quick. I don't know if it's real quick or not, but okay. Final one. Okay. Now we'll cut back on these right here. This is the back. And what you'll do, this is the last one. This is how you install it. I'm not going to do it here because I might use language you may not appreciate. However, there are two. Let me grab it here real quick. There are two little clips. And I got them wire tied together, but there are two of them there. See them? Yeah. There you go. These are important things to have, and you can buy them reproduction. But you'll see one side has like a big loop in it, and it hooks into this. Goes actually through the fabric. The other side has a smaller one in it, and it actually hooks into the rear piece of metal support right back here. These hooks we just talked about, they hook in the back. So when you put everything together, you got a very loose headliner hanging down, with actually the bows upside down, because they go this way. They actually should go like this, and because that's the way the headliner. This is the top that goes up to the top of the car, but they'll flip. But for when you first put them in there, they'll be hanging down. You'll actually hook these in, and then you'll go around to the front, and you'll pull. And when you pull, these will flip up. All of them will flip up, and this will become tight against the pull of the back, and then you'll glue it. I usually use some clips or something right up here. Pull it, it won't go this way, it goes the other way. and glue it down or clip it down first to get my tension right, and then make sure it's centered, and then you got the lips inside of the car here that actually you have to pull from each side. When you get through, you'll come to the back, and this will be hanging down. Then you pull to the back and glue it to this lip right here. There's also some teeth right here, and put my hands on them. Oh, right here. They'll hurt you. They'll look like little piranha teeth or whatever that you pull up against, and this hooks into this and holds it. These are holes that these bows go into. Now you'll see there's two holes. There's only one end of the bow that's going to go there, and that's exactly why they're there, for the adjustment. So you got a high and a low hole, so you can actually adjust the headliner up or down. I don't know. I always put them in the high because it gives the most headroom. But you put them in here, and then you may need to use a heat gun sparingly to warm everything up and readjust this. And that's putting in a headliner very easily. That being said, the car I did before this was a Mopar 69 Barracuda, and I did the headliner in that. And let me tell you, they had figured it out. Because ever how much trouble this is to me or to anybody putting a headliner in, remember, there was somebody doing one of these about every 3 minutes when they build them. So you get your skills down and you can do them fairly quickly, because they had to. That wasn't a 2 or 3 day project putting in a headliner. But Mopar had it figured out. They didn't glue the front. They had these same little grabbing teeth that's under here. They had them on the front. So they just pulled it tight and hooked them into the teeth. These seams that's right here, they pulled them tight. They didn't glue them. They had clips that went on them. That's all it was, clips. Pushed them right on. And back here, they had more teeth right in this little lip underneath. Not this lip, but right here underneath. They had clips, the little teeth. You could pull up and push them on it, and it would hold it. You could put a headliner in, and I learned this after I worried about it for several days, how to do it, never done one. Anyway, planned ahead, all the change the bows, whatever, and it was in about 20 minutes. So they had it figured out. Ford, on the other hand, hadn't gotten that far yet. I mean, you still have to glue the back, and you're using the 3M glue, which you let tacky, and then you stick it together. It's pretty much permanent when you do it, so you better be right the first time. Front and rear and the sides. Whereas the Mopar, it was grippy teeth and clips. There was no glue involved. So I really enjoyed, I don't say I enjoyed, that gives the wrong message, but I hated it a lot less putting a Mopar one in than I did a Ford. But anyway, once it's done, here's your white ivory interior. It matches. It'll look good. So what's next? What's next is I'll probably tighten some bolts up here, because I'm planning on putting the engine in. Back this up, get the hoist over here, get the engine situated, put the new clutch on it. We'll put the flywheel on it first. Then I'll put the clutch disc and pressure plate on it, and then we'll lower it into the engine bay and bolt it in. At that point, we'll put the bell housing on, then the transmission in. Now, that's a lot easier said than done, but we'll be doing that. We'll be jacking the car up, get a little space under there. Once that's all done, we'll put the new H-pipe in and the new exhaust, which I have, and I have coated it with a heat-resistant coating that'll keep it looking better longer. After that, we do a lot of testing. I've already tested the rear brake lights, the rear tail lights, the rear marker lights, the interior lights. I've tested those using these plugs right here. I have a little power supply. I put the very low amperage power supply. I ground it, and then I each one of these plugs does something. I forget what they are. And this right here, which is separate, is the trunk light inside the trunk. And I had to put that in separate because the reproduction wiring harness did not come with that. Anyhow, so that's where we're going. You may also notice here, and I'll just go over it real quickly. If you walk around here, you'll see some of the front bracketry. And there's more brackets I have not put on. There's brackets here for the front fender caps that bolt right here. But this right here and this, you can tell that there is a difference in color between this and this. And there's a difference in color between this and this. I do that on purpose, and basically what I do is I start out with the same color black that I use to do the bay, and then I add a little white to it. And I do that because the holy grail is what they call slop black, which is a lot of the bracketry and painted parts from other parts of the factory. They got it all came together in one place, but it always wasn't the same color. So you'll see some things that are of different shades. Some things are the same, depending on the color and the mixtures they were using at the time. But there's people that sell slop black, which is a certain color. It's not. It all varies. So I take a touch-up gun and paint a lot of these parts using various slight mixture changes between the trim black and I'll add a little white in it to lighten it up. Varied. So this will be different than the battery tray. Battery tray would be different than these brackets right here, and the headlight buckets and stuff like that. So got all that done. So after the engine goes in, we'll pop the fenders on it, put all that together with a lot of bolts and nuts. Anyway, that's where we are right now. Hopefully the next video, it'll look even better. I think it looks good now because I remember seeing the car when it was just a holy mess. Appreciate you watching, I really do. And thanks for hanging in there. I know there's some time difference between videos and so that's why they're delayed. But I'm working on it. I got a goal in my mind. Get it put together. Thanks for your help. Any comments, put them down below. I do appreciate it. And if you're just watching this is your first time, please subscribe and come back and watch the next video. Thank you.